Alright, welcome back to the second part of the lecture now for the week 3 of COS30043 interface design. Now we'll be talking about AngularJS and its components. Alright, without further ado, let's go. That's less screenshots than it. Alright, welcome back to the second part of week 3 lecture, and now we'll be talking about AngularJS. That's what I told you. So the first thing is about data binding. Data binding is basically an automatic way of updating the view whenever the model changes and vice versa. Alright, so this is what happened when you use data binding, right? So the compile template consists of the view and the model, while the JavaScript acts as the controller in your single page application that reside in the client computer. Alright, next we'll be talking about AngularJS directive, right? What is a directive? It says over here, markers on a document object model element that tells AngularJS HTML compilers to attach a specified behavior to that DOM element or transform the DOM element and its children. Alright. Custom and reusable HTML-like elements and attributes starting with ng or data ng. So what is directive in simpler words is basically function provided by AngularJS. There's some predefined function already available to you for you to use, such as all this thing over here. We have ng-app, ng-class, ng-controller, ng-init, ng-bind, ng-model, ng-model options, and so on. So we'll be starting with the ng-app, ng-class, ng-controller, which is the main directive of AngularJS. What is ng-app? It declares the root element of an AngularJS application. This triggers the template compilation and specifies application module inside your AngularJS single app application. So next we have here ng-class. What is ng-class? Is specifies class attribute to be dynamically loaded. So over here we have data ng-class model name over here. So basically what the usage is to bind one or more CSS class inside HTML element. The last one for the main directive is ng-controller, which specifies a JavaScript controller class that evaluates the HTML expression. This ng-controller enables the programmer to be able to add method or function or basically control the single page application. Next we have directive in terms of model data and variables. In AngularJS, this is how you assign a variable var a equal 3 or var b equal 2 with semicolon in the end. For operators, we use it like this. Alright, 3 times 2, 6. Alright, for comparison, we use this var a more than var b, which resulted true. Alright, to put out an array in AngularJS, you use something like this. Object array, we have this bracket, then curly, object inside, curly, object, curly, and another bracket. And to call the object array, we use something like this. Alright, this one, student object 0 ami dot name ami dot age 24. AngularJS is smart enough to know this and assign the data, and you can call the data easily. So if you want to define a string in AngularJS, you putting a string inside a variable, you use something like this and single quote. So to define string inside AngularJS, you have the variable name and then one quote with the string inside in the middle. Alright, for numbering it will be the variable name and then the number, and boolean is either true or false. If you want to have a specific object variable, you can have something like this. For example, this unit have code, unit.code, and you put the string inside, or the unit.description, and you put the string inside that variable. Alright, before we go further, let me give you an example of how AngularJS is used. So as you can see on the left over here, this is AngularJS code, and the one on the right side uses the traditional JavaScript. So as you can see here, the AngularJS code is way shorter compared to the JavaScript code. However, both of this code, it displays the same thing even though the code is different. So why use Angular instead of the traditional JavaScript? As you can see over here, just to create a text box, you have to call a lot of function inside the JavaScript, and all you have to do inside AngularJS is to call a text box. Alright, what do we have here for the AngularJS? Now we put the ng-app on the body tag, and now we have a div. Usually we'll be using a lot of div when we are using AngularJS. We have an input type text, and we call the thing text box. Alright, the thing inside the variable text box. Alright, what does this do? So without refreshing the page, AngularJS will read what's inside the text box and print it for the user to view. This happens over here as well, just like the JavaScript, but the code is way shorter. See, for example, EHT, and then another one ASD. Alright, what is ng init? It initializes model or the variable. For example, here we have a div data ng init, variable A, string, variable B is the numbering. We can also do this to init a student Emmy and Ben in an array. So basically this student is an array. What is ngbind? It says set the text of a DOM element to the value of an expression. Let's try this out. Alright, there's two ways for you to do this. The first one is using the ngbind. We have ngbind here, a plus b equal to 9. If we change this, it will only affect the first one, see? And the second way to do it is after you init the variable a equal to 5, b equal to 4, and then you can use these two curly brackets to do the variable processing in the paragraph section on the spot. What is ng model? It establishes a two-way data binding between the view and the scope. What is ng model option? It sets options on how model updates are done. These are the similar to input from the user. For example, in C, you have here for server PHP. And for AngularJS, we use this. Alright, here we have an example of how to use the ng model. Let me copy this code first. I'm gonna delete this previous div. Okay, let's see what do we have here. The first one is like this. We have a input text with the name strvar1, data ng model strvar1. For immediate effect, immediate update, you use like this, like the first one just now. See, A, B, C, whatever thing. Immediate update. Okay, so for the second one, we have strvar2. For the data ng model, we have strvar2 as well. But for this one, we have the data ng model option. We use the predefined update on blur function. So whatever you type here, it didn't update automatically unless you click away. So that is data ng model option update on blur. Alright, the next part we have a directive view conditional. You have ngIf, ngShow, ngHide, ngSwitch. The first one is ngIf. What does it do? It removes or recreates a portion of the DOM tree based on a Boolean expression. So we have an example over here. Okay, so this is our example for ngIf. What do we have here? We have a checkbox called chkvar. So we have the ng model chkvar, and the initialized, at first it is true. Okay, checkbox status, right? You see this checkbox status. Uncheck checkbox to remove this text. Alright, we have this inside the ng if chkvar span. If you uncheck this, it will automatically disappear. Alright, so to use this, you have to put the ng if checkvar inside one span. Alright, next we have ngShow and ngHide. It uses to conditionally shows or hides an element depending on the value of Boolean expression. Let's try this as well. Like just now, we have the checkbox chkvar. However, this time we don't have the init. This first span over here have data ngShow for the chkvar. If the checkbox is checked, it will show the span. For this one, it will hide the span if the checkbox is unchecked. So see from here. That's how you use the data ngShow and data ngHide. There's also ngSwitch, which conditionally instantiates one template from a set of choice depending on the value of selection expression. You can try this yourself. ngRepeats for view loop. It instantiates an element once per item from a collection. For example, we have this student, Emmy and Ben. So it repeats the student. Let me show you. Okay, as you can see here, we have a data ng init, student, Emmy and Ben. Alright, to print both of these inside this student array, all you have to do is to just put the data ngRepeat inside this list as in students, and then put here s. Alright, that's how you print both of these at once. So let me show you what happened if I add more data. Hello. Save it. Can refresh. So it also repeat for the last person over here. Alright. Alright, next we have Directive View function like. We have ngClick and ngView. What is ngClick? Execute AngularJS expressions on click. So let's see what happened if we try this. Alright, for this example, you have to print the number over here. If not, it won't work. Alright, so we have input type button, value, click to initialize variable in number, value here, click to initialize variable number. So data ngClick, num equal to 0. If you click that, the num variable will equal to 0. You see, click and it print 0. Alright. So ngView, a placeholder for routes to display based on templates driven by a specified controller. It will cover in depth on week 5. We have ngAria, ngAnimate. ngAria injects accessibility support into the application. ngAnimates provide animation hooks for common directives such as ngRepeat, ngSwitch, and ngView. You need to use this inside your D or HD projects. Alright, let's see what we can do over here with the AngularJS that we learned just now. So we have a binding example. Alright, for the binding example, we have the data ng model name and then a span of ng bind name. Alright, so whatever we type inside this text box will appear instantly. And for the second part, we have the model option, update on blur. Whatever we type here will only update once you click other side. Alright. So how about the condition? Example. Like just now, we have a checkbox. Uncheck it. If the checkbox is unchecked, it will remove the status over here. So we also have this condition for if. Okay, the data show hello boss if the variable chk var1, which is inside this checkbox, equal to this. If it doesn't, it will show this instead of this. Alright, let me see. Didn't change anything. If you type this, okay, for this example, we have the switch example. What is switch example? It's also similar to the switch function inside your normal programming. For example, if you type here switch when the str var over here equal to COS30043, it will display this. There you go. There you go. Alright. And for repeat example, we have this. This is how you display this kind of listing, and this is how you display inside a table. And the last one is to add more student by using the click. So every time I click this, it will push more data inside the student data ng. Alright. So the last one for today will be about filter in AngularJS. What does filter do? It alters appearance of the data, but it does not modify the actual value of the variable. So we have format, uppercase, lowercase currency, filter, and order. This is how you format string, format number, format date, filter an array of an object specific. You also have ordered by filter and ordered by array of object. This one I'll be showing you in one big example. This example is also uploaded in your canvas, so please check it and try for yourself. Alright, the first filter we have here is uppercase and lowercase. So we have our variable strvar, data ng model strvar, and this strvar will be formatted either using uppercase or lowercase and show over here. You see, A, B, G, 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 G. It will change everything to uppercase or lowercase. The second one, we have format as currency, integer, and number with decimal places. We have our numVar over here. So if we enter 1, 2, it becomes $12. Integer only 12, and with decimal places 12. See, number 3 meaning 3 decimal places. Alright. Next one, we have date. This is how you filter the input date to display how you want it to be. For example, we have that medium, YYY, MMDD, and so on. See, if you choose a date, for example today, it will display differently based on how you do the formatting. Finally, we have repeat by non-order and repeat by order. So we have an array of students over here, Emmy, Dolly, Cat, and Ben. So over here we have data ng repeat, as in student, filter, search bar. Alright, so basically what we are doing here is doing a search function. It only display the one that you type inside the search box. You filter by the thing that you put inside the search bar over here. It will display it by non-order, for example, Amy. Alright, this one is surprisingly not case sensitive. And the last one is repeat by order. This one will just display object in that array by orders. For example, we are ordering by age right now, and then the lowest will be the first printed over here. What if we change some of the data over here? What if we change cat to 1 years old? Save it, try to refresh, and cat will be appearing first because it ordered by the age. How does this work? Over here, we put order by age, and then AngularJS will recognize this as the one they need to process. How to get started with AngularJS? You basically can download the file over here. The framework of AngularJS can be downloaded and put inside your website folder. For example, this is your framework folder, and you have to call it inside your HTML. So the next lecture will be about view controllers and scope. So I hope you all will try and practice doing AngularJS. Alright. Thank you for watching the lecture for part 2 of week 3 COS343. I hope everything went well for you guys, and I hope you all stay healthy and all that. And don't forget to share, like, subscribe, whatever thing it is then, I guess. See ya.